As the Galaxy Fold 4 and Flip 4 get closer and closer to launch, the image, the picture of what these devices are going to look like, how they're going to perform, and maybe what they're going to cost gets clearer and clearer. And of course, I've covered the Fold 4 quite a bit already in multiple different individual videos, sort of bread trailing my way through all the things that we know about the Fold 4. Today, we're going to add one more thing to these possible rumors, which is going to be the price, but we're also going to sort of give an all-encompassing recap, everything we know about the Fold 4. But before we talk about the future, let's talk about the past real quick, because it's important to know where we've come from in order to be able to project where we are going. We have a tweet here from Ross Young. And if you don't know who Ross Young is, they are the CEO of Display Supply Chain Consultants, and this guy's been right about a lot of stuff in the past. And he tweeted on the 20th, which would have been yesterday, Samsung Fold 4 and Z Flip 4 phone production for July are more than double what it was for the Z Fold 3 and Z Flip 3, pointing to a very strong launch, might see a price cut. So what's the context here, right? So Samsung last year, 2021, apparently sold, estimates are about 9 million Z series devices. Now this is Z Fold 3 and Z Flip 3. That is a massive increase over 2020, which is only estimated at a rather small 2.8 million. So we tripled effectively, if these estimates are accurate. The Z series sales year over year effectively tripled. So now Ross Young reporting that the production being done for the Fold 4 and Flip 4 are double what they were last year. So is Samsung hoping for 18 million Z series phones sold in 2020? If so, you would have to speculate about what that might mean for the price. As I wrote here, a big factor to the overwhelming success that was the Flip and Fold 3 was the price going down. Samsung has been gradually lowering that price. They went from $1999 to $1799 for the Fold, and from $1,200 to $1,000 for the Flip. Perhaps another price drop is coming. And if we look at another rumor here from Anthony the Galax, another guy on Twitter that you should be following that does seem to be right more often than he is wrong, they're rumoring $1,699 as the starting point for the Z Fold 4. Now granted, that's not as big of a drop from $2,000 to $1,800. It's only half of that, right? Down to $1,700, but any price drop is going to be significant. No rumors yet on what the Z Flip 4 is going to be like. We really don't know much about the Z Flip 4. Hopefully I can dig up some information and get a video out on it very soon. But for now, this is going to focus on the Fold 4 pretty much from here on. Really quickly before we dive into what we know about the Fold 4, I just want to pump the brakes for a moment. And I want to just really make something clear. There are a lot of people still, and I understand this to some degree, but they see devices like this with a folding OLED and they don't trust them, right? They think they're super fragile, and look, they are more fragile than a normal phone. But they look at it and they're extremely hesitant. They don't want to buy one of these yet. But I want you to understand something. This market is absolutely exploding, and I'm going to make this very clear. I'm going to make this very clear prediction. This is the future. Folding OLED devices are only going to become more and more popular. The people that still think this is a fad that will peak and then trail off, I could not disagree more, and the numbers back me up on this. The growth has been nearly exponential, and if Samsung's correct and it doubles again year over year, you're going to have to start admitting that you might be wrong about this. Folding phones are here to stay, and they're only going to get better and better, and the proposition that they give, the ability to have a phone in your pocket, you can turn into a tablet, is something that I don't know how else I could sell this to you. If you don't see that and think that looks cool, that's something that you might enjoy having, we're just on two very different wavelengths. These devices, like I said, they're only going to get more popular. So what do we know about the Fold 4? We kind of have a general idea of what we're going to be getting here. We don't think we're going to be seeing any radical departure from the Fold 3 or the Fold 2 even for that matter. We're still going to be getting that same cover display that is much taller than it is wide. We're still going to be getting effectively the exact same inner display, which I don't think is necessarily a huge problem. I, for one, am impartial to the landscape orientation and would rather see the device fold this way, make it a bit shorter, make it a bit wider, but that is, of course, going to be personal preference. Doesn't look like any of that's going to be changing, but a place where there are going to be some big changes are presumably going to be in that there camera module. The Galaxy tweeted some time ago this particular bit of information here. So Galaxy Fold 12, 16, 12, Fold 2, 12, 12, 12, Z Fold 3, 12, 12, 12, Galaxy 4, 108, 12, 10. Well, what does that mean? The rumor is that the Z Fold 4 is going to be the first foldable with a 108 megapixel main camera. So this is the same sensor that Samsung has used in some of the other S21 and S22 devices. This would represent a massive increase in resolution over what they've been doing with the 12 megapixel sensor, which has been consistent throughout the Fold's life cycle. This would also enable a digital zoom of 30x. You imagine you have a 108 megapixel sensor. What that's going to allow you to do is take a very large image and then digitally crop in about 30 times space zoom is what they call it. Of course, 8K video recording would also be possible, but you might have noticed there that there's a 10 there at the end instead of a 12. Well, that is the telephoto lens, because there's another rumor that we're going to be going from a 12 megapixel at 2x zoom to a 10 megapixel at 3x zoom. This is the same sensor that is in the S22 and the S22 Plus. Of course, the Ultra has that one plus a periscope zoom as well. So what this would mean would be a pretty radical overhaul of the camera system on the Fold 4. So you've got that giant 108, which can do 30x digital zoom. You've got a 12 megapixel ultra wide, which is probably going to be mostly unchanged, but then you also do jump from a 2x to a 3x. Now, I see that it is, of course, lower resolution, but that shouldn't make a really big difference. The extra zoom should overcompensate for that drop in resolution. Now, there are also rumors of an overhaul of some of the internals on the Fold 4. The Fold currently is a dual hinged system, right? Well, apparently rumors are this is going to be the first foldable with a single hinge. This, as Anthony says here, allows the device to be thinner and lighter while saving on cost and being more durable. So this hinge here in the middle, rather than having basically a hinge on both sides, it's only going to need the hinge on one side, a single hinge. And this also lines up with a tweet from Ice Universe just the other day. The Galaxy Fold 4 would not have the built-in S Pen. I brought this report to you, I believe, yesterday, that the Fold 4 would not have a silo for the S Pen, but it would allow the device to be smaller and thinner, lighter. No one likes a brick. So this kind of does feed back into this report that the hinge being redesigned is going to make the device thinner and lighter. It appears that Samsung is targeting that thinness, that pocketability, over having the S Pen silo. I know some people are upset about this. Some people seem to be okay with this. At the end of the day, we have a video here. There's all the way back in March, but I think this is going to wind up being pretty accurate of what the Fold 4 is going to look like. Now, the big difference here is in this concept, this individual did put the S Pen in a silo. We now know that is probably not going to be accurate, but the other details do seem to be correct about what this device is going to look like. And I think it's really important as this place to look into the future and think about what Samsung has done here with the Fold 4. The fact that they have very gradually, since the Fold 4 came out, they have very gradually been able to sort of tweak the design, improve things over time, improve that software, but also lower that price, because we do know that there are a slew of competitors coming from overseas, coming from China. You've got Vivo, you've got Oppo, you've got Huawei, all making foldable devices that will eventually, maybe not Huawei, but these other companies, versions of these devices will eventually make their way over to the United States with some certainty. In particular, that Oppo device, which will probably come over as a OnePlus device, they're going to be cheaper. They're going to undercut Samsung. So it's really important here that Samsung does slowly reduce their price. And it's interesting because right now they have no competition here. So they're able to charge a lot of money for this device. But as the competition gets closer and closer, the Samsung device continues to iterate, continues to be polished, continues to improve, but also the price continues to come down, so that day when it eventually will come, when competition finally does arrive here from these other companies, Samsung should be positioned very well to compete head to head, not just in price, but also in specs, quality, performance, and more. I think what they're doing is very intelligent, and they've done a very good job so far. So guys, that's pretty much all we know right now about the Fold 4. Like I said earlier, hopefully more details leak about the Flip 4. I would love to cover it more, but right now there's just really not a whole lot to say. Thanks for making it through the end of today's video. Let me know what you think about this in the comments down below. How do you feel about that price potentially dropping? Thinner, lighter, no pin, but way better camera. Please sound off in the comments down below. I'll see you on the next one, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.